Today, we are joined by two of the best bloggers on the scene. This is Hipster Brufus, a fellow New Englander.
Yes.
Very opinionated, but always on point. And this is the wonderful Naptown Pint. And we're going to talk about trends in craft beer.
I would say, first of all, the single hop series that people have been bringing out quite a bit. I really liked it, like especially for Flying Dog. Their El Dorado and the Galaxy were just amazing.
I was gonna say classic beers, but Liz took that from me already. Like, you know, simple styles. Beer cans. I was super against beer cans 4 years ago.
Right.
And then my then girlfriend, now wife, and a buddy of mine were like, no, you're wrong. Here's a beer can, drink it. And I poured it into a glass and I drank it, and it was fine. And it makes taking my recycling out a lot easier also.
Right.
The Rufus loves the earth.
Go green,
Go green.
this year.
So that's my favorite
That's
national
big.
trend.
My trend is actually both of those, and I think there's more drinkable double IPAs. I know we talk about session beers and that kind of stuff. My favorite, my personal favorite.
Let me guess. Double duckpin.
I love that beer. That could be my beer of the year for Barrel, which we're segueing now. Segue.
Spoilers.
That would probably be my beer of the year for Barrel, just the double duckpin. I wish it was going to be year round. I know it's not going to be, but I think that might be my favorite.
That's a good choice.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
I applaud you.
I'm excited too about the Jailbreak Scoville coming up.
Oh
Yes.
Because I think
yes.
that beer was pretty money. That might be my second favorite beer.
And I don't even really like pepper beers that much, but it's not so hot as it is. It gets the sweetness of the peppers and the cilantro.
Well, that was the funny thing about it. I remember when it first came out, I was all disappointed because it didn't have the heat I wanted, and then I really took a step back from it and just thought about the fact that was the first time I'd really considered the flavor of a jalapeno and how robust it is and how rich and flavorful it can be. When Jailbreak first came out and they had the made with basil, I'm like, this is a good beer. You know, it's solid, but it's really, you know, everybody has their own personal preferences. It really didn't fall under my umbrella. And the Scoville, I felt, was a really good first declaration from that brewery of what their point of view was.
Yeah.
I could drink that all the time. I have a girlfriend of mine who...
Really, that would be a desert island beer for you?
Yeah, one of them.
Seriously?
Yeah, really. It's phenomenal. You know, I have to say, like, the guys from Full Tilt, I really love what they've been doing. They're awesome.
They're good guys. That Hop Harbor was pretty solid.
That Hop Harbor was awesome. With Maryland beer, I think this is one of the things that really attracted me to it, was the fact that Maryland beer, there is such a family aspect to it. You know, like, guys from Heavy Seas are calling up guys from Dewclaw, and, you know, there is that collaborative atmosphere, you know, friendly competition also, but they have that collaborative aspect to them where they all kind of work together. As hokey as it sounds, it's like the story of Maryland beer. They all work together.
Yeah.
It's like picking my favorite child, but in this case, that would be beer.
You know what I love about Maryland beer is, all right, so you got Steven at Oliver's, who nails classic English beers.
Right.
But he can also do an American beer if he needed to. You got Union, who nails German beers.
Yeah.
And then you have Dewclaw, who nails beers, weird beers, different beers that people wouldn't normally buy. And then you know,
Cocoa Fuegos.
every brewery in Maryland is doing something unique to their own subset. There's not a whole lot of overlap. I mean, yeah, you know, two different breweries will do double IPAs,
Right.
so, but that's to be expected. But
Yeah.
I mean, each brewery has a character.
Even if you compare compare the Jailbreak Double with the Flying
They're
Dog
two
Double,
totally
they're
different beers.
Totally different
Oh,
beers.
yeah.
So-
Totally different beers.
Well, that's what makes it so tough, is that, like, I'm sitting here going, man, yeah, Heavy Seas definitely, but then I'm also going in my head, but man, you know, some of the burlier beers I've had this year have, you know, blown me away.
Right.
And, you know, then there's Union, then there's the fact that we just went to Milk House. It's hard.
I don't know if I could.
I'm
favorite.
like,
And like Evolution.
Evolution
always
surprised
so
me this
good.
year.
And their stuff has always been sort of along the Heavy Seas line, where like they've stayed the course with their stuff. They've
Yeah.
been true to it, but now they branched into sours.
yeah.
They do that Nouveau Rouge.
Oh, that was
and that
so
kind of
good.
Yeah, I really
stuff
want-
is really good. And they
really want that
branched
beer.
into
Their
a
spring
little bit
hibernation
more
was
that
good, too.
way. So
Their summer their summer session surprised me a
was
lot
good.
this year.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I wasn't a big fan of the Tropical, but otherwise they were really solid for me this year.
Yeah, that was kind of.
It ran a little too sweet for me.
Right.
So.
Well, it was a wheat beer, and they don't really do a ton of wheat beers anyway. But like the Red Ale Solid, they changed the name, which I think was a good idea.
The Exile.
The Exile.
Yeah.
They changed the name from just calling it Exile because that was like confusing. They called it Exile ESB, and that style is always confusing to people because they're like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And then if you tell them, they're like, oh, it's bitter, and you're like, no, it's not really bitter.
It's a lie.
I never got to talk about my favorite beer.
What's your favorite?
What's your favorite?
Carrot Cake Conspiracy.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's so different. I don't like pumpkin beers.
Okay.
I don't like the majority of spiced beers. And Carrot Cake Conspiracy is so different, and especially the Imperial one where they add the vanilla.
I haven't had the
and it
Imperial.
was creamy and vanilla and a little bit of spice, and it was like drinking a carrot cake. They came out and they didn't rely on gimmicks or, you know, they had, when they came out, they had 8 beers on tap. Like, that's awesome.
Although I did have the Imperial Scoville.
Which, yeah, but that isn't that
Yeah,
like
but that was like
habaneros or
1,000
something?
pounds of peppers.
I know, and it was also 1,000 pounds of delicious. I just wanted to point that out. It was awesome.
Was it real hot?
Yeah, it wasn't like punch you in the mouth, oh my god, I can't eat anything, but it was really nice. I think it was for a lot of people what they had hoped Welcome to Scoville would be, because I think for all of us mouth-breathing beer nerds, we know that it was a pretty divisive beer because a lot of people were upset that it wasn't hot and that it wasn't spicy and that it was more flavor focused. What's your favorite beer of the year in your brewery?
I said it was.
No, your favorite brewery of the year. You did beer.
Well, I'm gonna show.
Kind of
for
rolled it
you.
all into one.
Yeah, it was like one thing. If we go back to the tape, we'll see.
Go to the tape.
We'll go to the tape.
Okay, we'll do it live.
Just